You can forgive someone for sleeping with another person, but what if they fell in love with them instead? What if your partner is texting someone every night, sharing secrets, fears, and dreams they don't even tell you? No touch, no sex, but deep emotional intimacy. Is that still cheating? And if it is it worse? Welcome to today's video. We're diving deep into a question that haunts countless relationships, ruins marriages, and sparks heated arguments. Is emotional cheating worse than physical cheating, or are they equally devastating in different ways? Some say, if there's no sex, it's not cheating. Others believe the deepest betrayals come from the heart, not the body. And somewhere in between, many couples silently suffer, unsure where the line is drawn. Today, we're not just going to answer this question. We're going to challenge what we believe about love, loyalty, and betrayal. Point number 1. Emotional cheating hurts longer. Let's be honest. Physical cheating is brutal. It stings like a knife to the heart. But in many cases, emotional cheating bleeds slowly and never quite stops. Why? Because emotional betrayal doesn't come with confessions. It comes with silence, distance, disconnection. It comes when your partner is still physically next to you, but emotionally in a completely different world. You can't scream at it. You can't confront it with solid proof. You just feel it, like a ghost in your own relationship. You notice the way they smile at their phone, but not at you. You hear them laugh a little too hard at someone else's joke. You feel the shift when they no longer tell you about their day, their thoughts, their feelings. At first, you think you're overthinking it. Then you realize you're being emotionally replaced. And that replacement doesn't involve a hotel room or dim lights. It involves long text conversations at midnight, inside jokes you're not part of, memes sent back and forth while you're asleep in the same bed. That's why emotional cheating leaves scars that physical betrayal sometimes doesn't. It questions everything. Because when someone sleeps with another person, you can blame the moment, the impulse, the lack of control. You can separate the act from their feelings. And sometimes couples even recover from that. But when someone shares their soul with another person, that's a whole different kind of wound. You start to ask yourself, was I ever their best friend? When did I stop being their safe place? What do they talk about with them that they won't say to me? And worse, have they fallen in love with someone else? There's no closure, no clarity, just confusion, and the creeping feeling that you're emotionally abandoned while still being in a relationship. That's why many therapists say that emotional affairs are harder to forgive, harder to rebuild from, and more confusing to navigate than one-night stands. Because it's not just a betrayal of trust, it's a betrayal of intimacy. And that kind of betrayal is deeply personal. When someone cheats physically, the pain comes fast and sharp. When someone cheats emotionally, the pain comes slow, but it lingers for weeks, months, sometimes years. You replay every conversation they had. You wonder if they ever loved you the same. You compare yourself to the person they bonded with, and every little memory you shared now feels like a lie. You can unsee a kiss. You can survive a night of lust, but you never quite recover from the moment you realize their heart wasn't yours anymore. And maybe that's why so many people who've been through emotional cheating say, I wish it had just been physical. Because physical wounds heal, but emotional ones, they echo. Point number 2, physical cheating is often a symptom, not the cause. Let's make something clear from the start. Cheating is never okay, emotionally or physically. But if we're being honest about human behavior, we have to recognize something that many couples are too afraid to admit. Physical cheating is often not the real problem. It's the smoke, not the fire. It's the consequence of something deeper, something broken, ignored, or starved within the relationship. Here's the hard truth. Most people don't just wake up one day and decide to cheat physically. It usually starts long before the bedroom. It starts with distance, neglect, disconnection, loneliness within the relationship, unmet needs, emotional, physical, or psychological. They feel unseen, unappreciated, unwanted, and one day, someone else gives them attention. Someone else laughs at their jokes. Someone else listens, flirts, touches their arm. makes them feel like a person again, and for a split second, they forget about the years, the promises, the love they're supposed to protect. They give in. But the cause? The cause isn't that moment. It's all the moments before it, when communication broke down, when affection disappeared, when resentment grew like mold in a quiet corner. So while physical cheating feels like the ultimate betrayal, often it's just the last chapter of a very painful book. And here's where it gets complicated. That's why, in some cases, couples recover from physical infidelity. Because when they sit down and trace back the cracks, they realize the cheating wasn't the problem. It was the symptom. They weren't sleeping together for months. They stopped talking, stopped touching, stopped showing up for each other. It doesn't excuse the betrayal, but it explains the decay. And sometimes the person who cheats is filled with guilt, not because they got caught, but because they realized how far they let the relationship fall before they reached out the wrong way. Sometimes the person who cheats doesn't want to leave. They just wanted to feel alive again. Now compare that to emotional cheating. That doesn't come from disconnection. It often happens in secrecy, even when the relationship seems fine. There's still closeness, affection, a working life together. But one partner is getting emotional intimacy somewhere else, and you don't even know it's happening. That's the key difference. Physical cheating is reactive. Emotional cheating is intentional. One can happen in a moment of weakness. The other is built, message by message, laugh by laugh, secret by secret, until it becomes something undeniable. And yet, when someone cheats physically, it still destroys trust. It shatters your sense of safety. You question your worth. You wonder if you were enough, if your body wasn't good enough, your love not strong enough. It hurts. There's no sugarcoating that. But if we look deeper, many couples who experience physical betrayal realize something strange. The moment that hurt the most wasn't the affair. It was the moment they realized they lost each other long before that. And that pain, too, runs deep. Sometimes the body wanders because the heart was already lost. Point number 3, emotional bonds are harder to break. Physical attraction is often instant, impulsive, and fleeting. It's a spark, a moment. And while that spark can cause destruction, it usually burns out fast. A one-night stand, a forbidden kiss, a weekend mistake. As painful as it is, the truth is, many people can move past it. Some even forgive it. But emotional cheating? That's not a spark. That's a slow-burning fire, one that grows quietly and deeply over time. And once it takes root, it's almost impossible to put out. Because emotional bonds are not about the body, they're about the soul. They're built through conversations that last for hours, through vulnerability, through inside jokes, good morning texts, and late night thinking about you messages, through sharing dreams, fears, memories, the very things we're supposed to share with our partner. That's what makes emotional cheating so dangerous. It doesn't feel like cheating. It feels like connection. The person cheating emotionally will defend it. They'll say, "We're just friends. We've never even touched. Why are you so jealous?" I can talk to them about things I can't talk to you about. And that last sentence, that's the dagger, because it reveals that something has shifted, not just in the relationship, but in the emotional ecosystem of trust. They are confiding in someone else, turning to someone else, choosing someone else emotionally. And when someone builds an emotional bond with another person, it doesn't go away overnight. Even if they cut off communication, the feelings stay. They miss that person. They replay the conversations. They still carry them in their thoughts. Why? Because emotional intimacy is the foundation of romantic love. It's why many affairs that start emotionally eventually become physical. And it's also why emotional cheating is often a gateway, not just to deeper betrayal, but to emotional detachment from the original relationship. And here's the cruel twist. The person who was cheated on often feels like they're being compared, not to a physical act, but to emotional perfection. Because the affair partner wasn't there for the bills, the fights, the mundane daily routines. They only saw the best side. They were the safe space, the comfort zone, the what if. And that illusion, that fantasy, it's hard to compete with. You can fight against a physical affair. You can even rebuild trust. But how do you compete with someone who lives in their heart? It's why so many betrayed partners say things like, "He's not even sorry. He still talks about her like she was the only one who ever understood him. She swears it wasn't physical, but she hasn't looked at me the same since." Because you can cut off contact with a person, but you can't cut out emotional attachment that easily. It lingers. It haunts. It divides people who are still physically together, but emotionally worlds apart. That's the slow death emotional cheating causes, and perhaps the most tragic part? Sometimes it's never discovered. The person never admits it. They move on, but their heart never fully returns. They smile. They stay. They go through the motions. But part of them, the part that laughed at someone else's texts, that felt truly seen, truly heard, never comes back. And you can feel it, even if you never find the proof. They didn't leave, but they never came back either. Point number 4, the betrayal of trust feels deeper in emotional cheating. When someone cheats physically, the betrayal is brutal, but it's usually clear. You know what happened. You know where the line was crossed. But with emotional cheating, the betrayal feels messier and somehow deeper. Because emotional cheating isn't just about lies. It's about replacing you in the most intimate ways. It's realizing that your partner told someone else their dreams, that someone else knows their fears, their jokes, their day-to-day thoughts. It's finding out you weren't their safe space anymore. Someone else was. And that cuts deeper than a one-time physical mistake. Because trust isn't just about bodies. It's about emotional safety. It's about being the one they turn to, not just the one they live with. When that bond is broken, the damage isn't just about cheating. It's about emotional abandonment. And that betrayal doesn't scream. It whispers, it lingers. It makes you doubt everything you thought was real. You weren't just cheated on, you were replaced. Point number 5, society normalizes physical infidelity. More. Here's something uncomfortable but true. Society often forgives physical cheating faster than emotional cheating. We've seen it in movies, in tabloids, even in real life. A celebrity cheats physically, headlines, scandal, and then it's over. People say it was just sex. Everyone makes mistakes. They can work through it. But emotional cheating? That hits differently. It's harder to define, harder to talk about, and harder to forgive. Why? Because emotional cheating threatens the very foundation of a relationship. Emotional exclusivity. And yet, it's not treated as seriously. People brush it off as just talking, just texting, just a friend. But deep down, we know better. Because most people, if asked, would say, "I'd rather my partner sleep with someone once than fall in love with someone else behind my back." And that tells you everything. Society may minimize emotional cheating, but to the person experiencing it, it's earth-shattering. Because the betrayal isn't about a moment, it's about losing the place you thought was yours in someone else's heart. So, is emotional cheating worse than physical? Truth is, there's no single answer. But emotional cheating cuts deeper for many people. Not because of what was done, but because of what was felt, what was shared, and what was lost. It's not just a violation of boundaries, it's a violation of intimacy. And the saddest part? Most people don't even realize they're doing it until it's too late. So if you're in a relationship, protect not just your body, but your heart, and your partners too. Because cheating doesn't always start with a kiss. Sometimes it starts with a good morning text to the wrong person. If this hit you in the heart or opened your eyes, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment below. Have you ever experienced emotional cheating? Or do you think physical cheating is worse? Let's talk about it. Your story might help someone else. Thanks for watching. And remember, real love starts with real honesty.